This is not a test. This is not a forecast. This is the sound of a dam breaking. As of this moment, the price of silver has done what the mainstream said was impossible. It has not just reached or flirted with the $70 level, it has detonated it. In a move of sheer force, silver has smashed through that psychological barrier, shattering a decade of resistance and rewriting every financial model in its path. If you are watching this, you're witnessing a historic fracture in the very foundation of the monetary system. The $70 price tag is not just a number, it is a verdict. It is the market's final deafening verdict on a failing experiment. But here's the truth they will not tell you on the financial news. This moment is not for celebrating. It is for executing. The decisions you make in the next 48 hours will determine whether you are a passenger on this rocket or just another spectator watching it leave the atmosphere. The breakout has happened. Now the real game begins. For years we've spoken in hypotheticals. We've analyzed charts, studied fundamentals, and warned of a coming revaluation. That phase is over. The hypothetical has become real. The first thing you must do is a complete psychological reset. You must delete the thought that $70 is the goal. That is the thinking of someone who has not yet understood the forces at play. $70 is not a destination, it is a confirmation. It is proof, written in the hard language of global markets, that the physical supply chain is broken, that monetary trust is evaporating, and that industrial desperation is real. Your mindset must shift from wait and see to manage and navigate. The market will now enter a period of breathtaking volatility. There will be violent pullbacks designed to instill maximum fear and doubt. They will call it a bubble. They will say the rally is over. Your job is to see through the noise and recognize the signal. The signal is a simple, unbreakable law of physics. When unlimited paper claims chase a finite physical resource, the paper system fails. $70 is the first major tremor of that failure. Let's begin with the most urgent priority, your immediate holdings. If your wealth is anchored in physical silver that you can hold in your hand, in a safe, in a private vault you control, your instruction is straightforward. Do not move. Your physical metal has just transitioned from an investment to a strategic asset. It is now wealth that exists outside the banking system, outside digital ledgers, outside the reach of policy failures. It is your lifeline. Guard it. However, if your exposure is through paper instruments, the ETFs, the futures contracts, the pool accounts, the ground has just shifted beneath your feet. These are promises. At $70, the credibility of those promises is under assault. Your first action today is to conduct a fearless audit. For every paper, silver asset you own, you must ask, does this give me a legal claim to a specific deliverable bar, or is it just a financial derivative? If it's the latter, you are no longer primarily betting on silver. You are betting on the solvency and goodwill of a financial intermediary in a market experiencing a fundamental shock. Your goal is not to panic sell into a frenzy. Your goal is to engineer a controlled, tactical retreat from paper and advance into physical reality. Use the inevitable price dips not as signals to flee, but as opportunities to convert fragile digital profits into unassailable tangible wealth. This urgency is driven by a reality now playing out in warehouses and refineries across the globe. The $70 spot price is a headline. The real story is the physical market it reveals. At this price point, two unstoppable forces collide. First, the industrial engine of the modern world, the makers of solar panels, electric vehicles, 5G networks, and medical devices, faces an existential threat. They cannot stop production. Their demand cannot be switched off. They will enter the market not as investors, but as desperate buyers, willing to pay any premium to keep their assembly lines running. Second, the already threadbare supply chain for physical bars and coins will snap. What you will see, almost immediately, is a phenomenon called decoupling. The quoted spot price will become almost irrelevant for a person trying to buy a real bar. The premium, the extra cost over that spot price, will explode. We're not talking about a few dollars. We could be looking at a $70 paper price and a $110 street price. This widening gap is the visual representation of the paper market's collapse. Your second move, therefore, is to secure whatever physical metal you can from reputable, established dealers. Do this not for speculative gain, but for strategic allocation. This is the portion of your wealth you're placing beyond systemic risk. If access to physical is constrained, your focus must turn to the gatekeepers of the remaining supply, the mining companies. The mining sector is the leverage play, and at $70 silver, it becomes a realm of both staggering opportunity and profound danger. The mathematics are simple. A miner with a cost of $18 per ounce was profitable at 30. At 70, its cash flow isn't just growing, it's undergoing a geometric explosion. This will attract a torrent of capital and speculation. The stocks will gap up, then crash down, then surge again in patterns that defy logic. To survive and profit here, you must be a sniper, not a stormtrooper. Abandon any thought of chasing the tiny, speculative juniors. In this volatility, they will be incinerated. Your capital belongs with the majors and the senior intermediates, the companies with proven minds, strong balance sheets, low debt, and a history of weathering cycles. More importantly, you must seek out management teams that have publicly committed to returning this windfall to shareholders through dividends and buybacks. These companies become cash-distributing machines. But you must enter with iron discipline. Decide your position size beforehand. Use limit orders religiously. Be prepared to buy when the fear is palpable on a down day, not when the greed is euphoric on an up day. Your third move is to allocate a speculative portion of your capital to these quality miners, understanding that you are buying a cash flow business, not just a metal proxy. Now, step back and see the bigger picture. $70 silver is not an isolated event in a commodity corner. It is a flashing red alarm for the entire global financial system. This price is a direct, real-time assessment of currency debasement. It is the market telling you that the flood of paper currency created over the last decade is now frantically chasing a shrinking pool of tangible goods. Central banks are now in a trap of their own design. Any move to aggressively raise interest rates to defend their currency and suppress inflation would trigger an immediate debt catastrophe, collapsing bond markets and sovereigns. Any move to accommodate this inflation by holding or cutting rates is an admission of surrender, guaranteeing a further stampede into hard assets. They are paralyzed. Their only tools are words and manipulations, which are becoming less effective by the hour. This leads to your fourth critical move, fortifying your overall financial life. This is the moment to eliminate any and all variable rate debt. Refinance what you can into fixed rates. The era of free money is dead. It is also time to begin a deliberate, quiet diversification away from the US dollar as a sole store of value. This does not mean liquidating your life. It means considering allocations to assets that act as currency hedges, strategic positions in other strong currencies, in globally productive equities, and in other essential commodities. $70 silver is the canary in the coal mine. It's time to put on your helmet. You must also prepare for the psychological war. The narrative from established financial media will be a study in controlled dissonance. They will first ignore the move. Then, they will explain it away as a technical fluke or speculative froth. Finally, as it persists, they will pivot to fear, framing silver investors as dangerous speculators threatening economic stability. They will platform every analyst who has been wrong for 15 years to explain why this time is different, why 70 is a top. You must build an impervious mental fortress against this. Your data is the price action. Your evidence is the physical market disconnect. Your confirmation is the frantic, non-discretionary buying from industries that form the backbone of the green and technological future. Your fifth move is to curate your information sources ruthlessly. Unfollow the doubters. Listen to those who deal in the reality of logistics, refining, and delivery, not just in financial abstractions. Trust the tangible over the theoretical. So, what comes after 70? We are moving into a realm of true price discovery, a process that is often violent and always unpredictable. The distorted historical ratios between gold and silver will correct, likely with ferocious speed, acting as a multiplier on silver's move. The numbers 100, 150 cease to be fantastical targets and become mere waypoints in a market searching for a clearing price, a price that finally balances non-existent supply with insatiable demand. Do not fixate on a number. Instead, watch for the catalytic events that signal the endgame. A major exchange officially halting physical delivery and settling contracts in cash only. A major nation-state announcing a massive strategic acquisition to back its currency. Or a significant financial institution with deep metals exposure failing. These are the triggers for the next, even more explosive, leg up. The sound you heard was the starting gun. The world has irrevocably changed. The number 70 is now a monument to a failed monetary past and a threshold to a turbulent future. But always remember, in moments of systemic shift, wealth is never created. It is transferred. It moves from the hands of the unprepared, the distracted, and the emotionally driven, into the hands of the calm, the prepared, and the strategic. You have been given the signal. You have the framework. The price on the screen is your proof. What you do now, with clarity, with conviction, and with decisive action, will echo through your financial life for decades. This is not the culmination. This is the beginning of the reckoning. The $70 world is here. Your move. Thanks for watching.